Today, we're diving into something much deeper than just ancient history. We're going to explore a timeless story, really, about a fundamental conflict that plays out inside every single one of us. That struggle between what we believe deep down and what the world tempts us with every single day. So, you might be thinking, okay, why on earth should I care about a 3,000-year-old story about some forgotten god named Baal? And you know what? That's a fair question. Well, here's why it matters. Because this ancient drama, it isn't really about an ancient god at all. It's a powerful allegory for the constant tug of war between long-term faith and the appeal of short-term, easy temptation. And that is a conflict that every single one of us knows all too well. All right, so to really get a grip on this internal battle, we first need to meet the players. Let's break down the key figures in this spiritual drama, because each one represents a piece of the puzzle. Think of it like this. We've got three main characters on our stage. First, there's the believer, the one who's struggling. Then, you've got the idol, representing all that worldly temptation. And finally, the intervention, that voice that calls us back to the right path. So let's start with the believer, represented here by the Israelites. Now, they were guided by God, but they perfectly symbolize our own very human tendency to stray. The minute the path gets a little rocky or a new challenge pops up, we often start looking around for a quicker, easier solution, don't we? And that is exactly where the idol comes in. In this story, his name is Baal. But listen, Baal isn't just some ancient statue. He's the symbol for any quick fix. He represents all those things, money, status, possessions, that promise instant gratification but can't deliver real, lasting salvation. And then you have the heroes of our story, the intervention, embodied by the prophets. Figures like Elijah and Samuel, they represent that voice of clarity in the middle of all the confusion. They're that divine wake-up call sent to pull the believers back from the brink and expose those idols for what they are, completely powerless. But okay, let's be real for a second. Why was this idol so appealing in the first place? If we're going to understand the struggle, we have to understand the temptation. And this right here, this is the heart of the entire conflict. On one side, you have Baal, the god of tangible results. He promised rain for your crops, something you could literally see and feel. On the other side, you have Yahweh, the god of unseen faith, who demanded trust in a covenant, in promises of a future you couldn't see. It's the classic battle between what's right in front of you and what you have to believe in. I mean, you have to admit, Baal's divine resume was pretty impressive. He was the god of fertility and storms, the bringer of rain. His myths literally explained the seasons. So if you're an ancient farmer trying to survive, worshiping him doesn't feel like an abstract belief. It feels like a very practical insurance policy. This tension created a predictable and, frankly, a pretty vicious cycle. The Israelites' whole struggle with faith can be mapped out in a repeating four-stage pattern. It all kicks off with stage one, relapse. Faced with new challenges in a new home, the Israelites start to drift. It just seems more logical to credit the local god of rain for the land's fertility than the unseen God who brought them there. They start turning toward what feels more immediate and beneficial right now. And this leads straight into stage two, suffering. The story shows a direct consequence for their choice. Turning to false idols for security leads to disaster, military defeats, oppression, and this deep spiritual distress. The crucial point here is that the very things they turned to for protection proved utterly incapable of providing it. It's only in the depths of this suffering that we get to stage three, repentance. This is the big turning point. Crushed by the consequences of their choices, the people are met by the prophets, who call them to renounce the false gods and return to the faith they abandoned. And that call leads to the final act, stage four, deliverance. After they turn back, God restores them. There's a period of peace and security, a clear lesson that true salvation comes only from Him. But the fact that this is a cycle kind of hints that this peace, well, it's fragile. To put this in modern terms, think of it like trying to stick to a healthy diet. We know the long-term benefits of discipline and good food. But when we're stressed or hungry, man, that quick, sugary fix, that donut, is incredibly alluring. It offers that immediate satisfaction, but it ultimately leads to a crash, forcing us back to the healthy path, only for the temptation to pop up again later. That's the cycle. Now, this ongoing struggle couldn't last forever. It was all building toward a final dramatic confrontation, a moment where the power of faith and the emptiness of the idol would be put to the ultimate test on a mountain called Carmel. The prophet Elijah sets the stage. He stands alone against 450 prophets of Baal and issues a crystal clear challenge. 2 altars, 2 sacrifices. They would call on Baal, he would call on Yahweh. And the God who answered with fire from heaven, he would be declared the one true God. The stakes could not have been higher.
For hours, Baal's prophets are crying out, dancing, pleading. The result? Nothing. Complete silence. Then Elijah steps up. He soaks his altar in water just to make a point and offers a single quiet prayer. And instantly, fire just falls from the sky, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, everything. In one spectacular moment, Baal's impotence was laid bare for everyone to see.
But the demonstration wasn't over. For the final mic drop, Elijah prayed a second time, and God sent a massive downpour, ending a years-long drought. This was the checkmate. Yahweh didn't just prove his own power, he demonstrated complete mastery over rain and weather, the very things Baal was supposed to control. So, what does this ancient showdown mean for us? This is where the allegory becomes personal. This is where it forces us to look inward. This story forces us to ask a really tough question. What is the Baal in my life? And allegorically, that means anything we turn to for ultimate security and fulfillment apart from true faith. It could be our career, our bank account, our relationships, anything that promises that immediate gratification and seems more present than an unseen God. And the enduring lesson is crystal clear. These modern idols, just like the ancient one, might offer some fleeting benefits. But the story systematically shows that trusting in them ultimately leads to 2 things, a deep spiritual emptiness and what the text calls great distress, because they are completely incapable of delivering real salvation when it's needed most. So I'll leave you with this to reflect on. What in your life promises immediate fulfillment? And maybe more importantly, what is its true, ultimate cost?